We're coding. Hello and welcome to episode number 16 of the Loading Screen. Tonight we do have a very special guest with us today. He is a Borderlands streamer, one life runner, and zero enthusiast. You Need A Hugg. Also featuring, of course, your favorite Canadian cue ball, MonsterousRage, and your Destiny living emoji, Angry Iceberg. We do have a very eclectic version of topics tonight. Starting off with, of course, Angry Icebergs first, and that's Destiny.
Destiny!
Yeah, we got to talk Destiny.
Destiny, yes.
Well, that always seems to be in the news, man.
Well, Destiny's news is pretty straightforward. Bungie's new CEO. What that could possibly spell for the future of Destiny and Destiny 2. We kind of went through a change in personnel with Destiny 1, and we saw a segmented game. Do you think we're going to see that with Destiny 2? We'll go and start with the expert, Angry Iceberg.
I'm sorry, I got distracted. I missed that last part of the question. What was that?
Do you think do you think Destiny 2 will be segmented like Destiny 1 was, since there's a new change of guard?
I think it's. I don't. You know, the thing is that it's still following the same model as most MMOs have followed, because it's a similar style of game, even though it is a first-person shooter, and there are some things that are different. But yeah, you're gonna see a lot of the same thing. You're in Destiny 2. I think it will be. There will be DLC. I mean, it's Activision. They're gonna find ways to make money. I don't think they're gonna go the route of the microtransaction route. I mean, like in a major way. Obviously, they'll probably take some cues from where they're at now. But Destiny 2, especially with a new CEO, it'll take a different direction. I think that the production schedule may be able to handle better communication. Hopefully, it'll be handled better. And I think that it maybe bodes well for the future. I mean, I don't know. It's yet to be seen. But for the near future, it definitely tells a bit of a dark tale, because we talked about it in the previous shows about how that we had heard the rumor that it was going to be delayed. Destiny 2 is going to be delayed till 2017. Now that rumor is starting to sound like it's probably going to be real. True, because why would they get rid of their CEO if something wasn't seriously amiss? So that's obviously something that was very concerning. But just the fact that they did recognize something was wrong means that they do want to see an improvement. So I think that eventually, in the end, I think it'd be better for Destiny. But for Destiny 2, it is definitely a concern for sure.
Monolith Rage?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I feel for you, Angry, because if that does happen, it's going to be a long road, sir. Long road. But same thing. Like, if he's switching out and bringing in, what's his name? Patterson or Parsons? Bringing in Parsons, there's definitely an issue there. And if there's an issue, there's going to be a reworking. If there's a reworking, it means they're going to be scrapping stuff and redoing stuff. And you can't do that without a delay. You just can't. So it's going to be delayed. It's not a matter of if it is. It's going to be. So they need to find some way to keep that market going, whether it's even free DLC to say, you know what, we screwed up. Here's something that we put together for you guys. We hope you enjoy it. Even if it's something like they did with the racing. Just some special event, but something that you would accumulate something of worth without having to pay any money for. I think that would alleviate some of the delay, but it's going to be delayed. That's what's going to happen. That's what's happening with this changeover. End result, game's delayed. That's it.
All right, how you feel, Hug?
I mean, I really only played Destiny really seriously past, I don't know, 2 months. So, like, I don't really keep up with it, like that kind of stuff. I mean, I guess what those two got on, it's gonna be delayed, and I don't know. Hearing about this whole 10-year plan when the game first came out and all that, it's just like, I don't think they had anything planned. They just kind of said that to get people excited and get people to be invested in their game, and then they kind of just dropped the ball. They this year 2, like it's just completely changed, and it's just like they don't know what direction they want to go to. So, and that's obvious since they changed CEOs. So, we'll just wait till next year when they change another one. I don't know.
Pretty much, and there's some people that can kind of make the argument that they just want a new, set of eyes. They want a fresh go at the team. Well, they didn't bring anybody new in. They just promoted somebody up to the position. So,
he's been working with them for 2010, I believe.
Yeah, as far as a fresh look into Destiny 2 and whatnot, and a fresh creative style, we're not really getting that because he's already been in a position to influence creative ideas. I think the old CEO may have just voiced his opinion about some things, or maybe just wasn't getting the job done, and Bungie saw that, put the ixnay on him and brought up the new guy for CEO position, see if he does a better job with it. As far as the segmented experience, it's almost come to be expected now. We see personnel changes. We saw that for year 1 Destiny. Look what we got. For year 2 in Destiny, we're going through the exact same thing. We see personnel changes. I think we'll probably be getting more substantial DLC for Destiny 1 due to the fact that Destiny 2 will be delayed. I think the Cabal DLC that's been rumored needs to be extended. I don't know how they're going to do that. Also, they need to do things like hard mode raids, where you bring back all the old raids, make them tougher with taken enemies, and go through that. And maybe more events like SRL and whatnot. They have the Crimson Dazzles coming out next week. We'll be talking about next week and see how that goes for Destiny. But as an experience, from somebody that did play vanilla DLC, or vanilla Destiny, not DLC, I really hope they give us more content out of the box for Destiny 2. But it doesn't look like we're going to be getting it. We might get, bigger maps. We might get, more vivid areas because it probably will not be on last gen. But I still expect a segmented experience.
I think that needs to happen though, because you're appealing to the Destiny crowd. So if you change the game too much, if you revamp it too much, it's not going to be the same game, and you're not going to keep that audience. Sure, you might get a new audience to the game, but the core money that they're counting on is the people that already play Destiny now.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to change it too much. You want to add to it, but you don't want to change the design too much.
Right, but players of Destiny, ever since Vanilla came out, is, okay, why am I in this small box on Mars? Why am I in the small box on the Cosmodrome? They want to be able to explore.
But at the same time, they're still playing it. That's where my point is. They're dedicated to that game. So, I mean, add more to what they're asking for, but if you change it from a segmented to like a linear path, then that's just going to discourage people. That's all I'm saying.
You definitely don't want a linear path. And I mean, I think they have stuff in development to create new areas. I think just to leave the same areas is definitely going to be a mistake. They could even extend out areas and open up some more of, the they kind of did that a little bit with House of Wolves when they opened up, the Cosmodrome a little bit more, basically allowing you to go back into the the very first area that you first came into. So when they originally promoted Destiny, it was a massive world that if you can see it, you can go there. Well, obviously, I think they were. Yeah, it's obviously not what happened, but what they were saying is that stuff was actually drawn. It wasn't just a skybox, and so I think they have the technology there. The last gen's kind of holding them back. Maybe if they indeed drop last gen, like most people expect, maybe they'll be able to go into that a little bit more and further the possibilities that way. But there's also been lots of artwork and videos of different areas that we haven't seen. We saw that kind of come into play with the Taken King, where we looked at, or even as far back as House of Wolves with like the Reef, for example. We saw videos of the Reef like 2 years prior to that, like during E3 and stuff. So, I think, and you kind of made a comment that made me think a little bit there, Kadex, about, whether or what really caused the CEO to step down. Was it him speaking out? Which is, I hope it's not that, because if that's the case, then that means he wasn't happy with something and people weren't listening, and he was forced out because he wasn't conforming. So I hope it was the fact that he was just doing a poor job and the communication was poor and the end results were poor, and that's why he was forced out, not because he wasn't conforming to the status quo, which obviously isn't making a whole lot of people happy right now.
Right, and you saying that, like, it actually triggers something to me about the planets and whatnot in the Cosmodrome, how you could go back to the very beginning where you're first found and whatnot. What if they were to make different areas on the planet? Instead of just that one area, then you go patrol to these different little areas. What if they make different sections of the planet that you can...
Well, that's one of the things they talked about, that one of the areas that they talked about or had, I think even actually video of, was supposed to be Chicago.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so that was supposed to be one of the set locations. So, I mean, we'll see,
and that's what I mean. More of the same, but just a bigger scope.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the same locations. I mean, really, when you think about it, how many different places can you go to in the solar system? You can't really land on a gas giant, right? I mean, we went to Saturn because we got the rings, we got the dreadnought. So you got to be a little bit more, imaginative. We do have Mercury, which I'm still scratching my head about, but that's Mercury is a pretty cool place. It's got the sun right there, super bright, but we don't have an explorable space there. Venus. Yeah. Well, what do you mean? We do go to Venus.
I know, but that's my point. Shouldn't we be melting on the surface?
Well, we should be melting to acid rain, sure. But I mean, that was one of the terraformed places. But at least that was like a rock planet. That was actually where they could like terraform. That's kind of the lore. But anyway, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they still have 8 years left in the development cycle. They haven't made any signs of abandoning that plan. This is, as far as we know, this is what Bungie's working on. Hopefully, with the change, just brings out positive results. But we got a lot of time to let this play out.
Now, I know it's a little bit off topic, but we are getting Destiny 2 roughly after the 2-year mark of Destiny, the release of Vanilla Destiny coming out. Mm-hmm. Do you see us going all the way to Destiny 4 and then having that as a 2-year? Or do you think the span of time between Destiny 2 and Destiny 3 or something like that will be a lot longer with more thought out DLC?
Well, I'm not super convinced that. I mean, everybody says Destiny 2, but I'm still not convinced it's not just going to be. I mean, obviously it's going to be a different game. If they're going to be dropping last gen, it's obviously going to be very significant. But they could just list it off, just like they did the Taken King. It's just Destiny, instead of saying Destiny 2, just Destiny, whatever name, So, will it be Destiny 2? I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. But they were thinking that the Taken King was going to be called Comet or something.
Yeah, that wouldn't really make much sense.
Right. So I think it's just going to be updated iterations. I mean, I think it'd be kind of silly for them to leave the old stuff behind. I think it's going to follow. I would think that it would follow more of a World of Warcraft path where you're just getting major updates to the world and to the space, but you could still play the old content and just kind of bring it along with you.
So would you see then that like Xbox 360 and PS3 would not get a release of the new update and then have it done that way?
Yep, I think that the what we've currently seen released and anything that's released this year in relation to Vanilla Destiny is going to be all that current gen sees. Pardon me. Just simply because it's holding the game back at this point, and it's time to move on from last gen. But again, I think that the current gen will continue to move forward with the old content in tow.
Right. All right. Well, that's it for Destiny for now until Angry Iceberg brings that up again.
It'll work its way back into the conversation. I guarantee.
Oh, I know it's going to.
It's going
it
to.
Always does, man. It always does.
Well,
like the Division. The Division's not really Destiny.
I was playing Pac-Man the other day, and you know what? It reminded me of those pellets going through in Destiny.
Yeah, there was a pellet. Yeah.
Speaking of Destiny, EA, Electronic Arts, has pulled out of E3. They have announced that they are going to be holding their own conference, and the building right next door to E3 prior to E3. Now, how do you guys feel about EA just kind of suddenly pulling out, which is one of the biggest boosts that E3 has, and kind of making their own event? I believe it's going to be a weekend-long event, maybe 3 days or so. How do you guys feel about this, and how do you think EA's or E3 is going to react to it? We'll start with You Need A Hugg.
Well, from what I've read on it, I mean, they just seem like they say that they're trying to move more to focusing more on the gamers and their consumers of their product. And I guess E3 is like people that go to E3 is like media and whatever. They have credentials that they can go to, and then they have they're doing EA. They're going to do their own thing so they can have their customers actually go there and experience it, because EA is it's all good and all, because we get to watch from where we're at here and see that stuff happening, and then developers going to watch it. But then I guess the reason why EA wants to leave and do their own thing is they want people to have hands-on experience right then, and then just go word of mouth that way. I mean, I don't know. That's as far as I've read up about it. I guess other people might start following suit, and I don't know. I don't think you'll see E3 go away, because E3 is way too big to go away anytime. So maybe it's just something that they're trying out, and if it doesn't work out so much, then they'll just go back to it. But from what I see, they're just saying that they're trying to focus more on their consumers, really, and letting them come in there and experience it right off the bat. That's pretty much all I've read about it. So,
Rage?
Okay, I'm going to look at it on the corporate side versus them catering to gamers. E3 over the past 4 or 5 years, with EA being in there, you'll have the Xbox press conference, you'll have the PlayStation press conference, you'll have the Nintendo press conference. They're not doing that as much anymore, but at all of those press conferences, they're showing EA's games. Yeah. So when it came around to EA's press conference, nobody gave a shit. Yeah. Nobody cared, because they already saw the games. So for a corporate standpoint, I think that's really the reason they're doing this. They're tired of being lowballed, basically, during the conferences. They could easily just put out a montage video at EA, and that would cover them. And then they can show off their actual product at their own conference. So I think it's a smart move on their part, because there's a lot of money poured into E3 for corporations to be at those venues. So this is probably a giant cost saver, and who knows, other companies might follow suit. I agree with You Need A Hugg. E3 is not going anywhere, but I could see it bigger corporations pulling out, and it being more of an indie situation in the future.
Okay. Angry Iceberg?
Yeah, I think MonsterousRage hit on a lot of really good points. That I think it makes a lot of sense for EA to kind of go on their own. When you think about EA, what do you think about? You really think about the Sony press conference. You think about the Microsoft press conference and the Nintendo stuff, and the actual publishers are kind of pushed down a little bit. You still have the big conferences between EA and Ubisoft and Activision and whatnot. But I think it's kind of a smart move for them to kind of step aside and be like, and really hype their stuff, because there's a lot of people, in the gaming industry that really don't like E3 as a whole, and think it's a really big waste of time and a waste of money, because of how much goes into it. And I'm not so sure that we won't see E3 go away, at least in the form that it is now as an industry expo. It might go the way
taking over.
Right, it might go the way of the Penny Arcade expos. So where it's more of a fan-driven event. So and then again you'd see them, these publishers still kind of come back into it. But I could definitely see, Activision and Ubisoft, branching out again, and each individual, it might be just a a hardware side kind of event too, where just Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, they bring, their stuff, and then the publishers kind of have their own. It's really hard to say, but I know that there's even a lot of press that really don't like E3. And and look what happened. It wasn't even that long ago where E3 wasn't really even a thing anymore. It was quite a bit different than it is now, and it was for some of the same reasons. So, and again, I think that with the PAX events, you kind of scratch that itch for consumers. So, who knows what's going to happen with E3? But the E3 just has that name too. It has that. Everybody knows E3. It's that big event every year. But again, I think it's more of a consumer show now than it is an industry show. So I think it's a good move, and I think it'll drive a lot more excitement. And I think EA will have a lot more control over their show now. And I think it could be a really good thing for not only for them as a company, but for those interested in EA properties.
Right. I'm actually thinking that EA or E3 might be going the route of online. How they streamed E3 last year on Twitch, I could see that Sony, Microsoft, and PlayStation, or Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo could have their own press conferences. They have the PlayStation experience and whatnot. They could have their own press conferences with all the media and whatnot, and then E3 could be more of an online showcase of everything new that's coming out that developers want to get in the hands of consumers. You have your YouTube crowd that can stream it live, you have your Twitch crowd streaming live, and those were big numbers streamed. I witnessed a channel that had over 5,000 viewers, and it wasn't even known for press coverage, and it still had 5,000 views covering E3. So I could see like an online market for E3 where it's just like a digital showcase. Somebody comes out on stage from one of the developers, talking straight into the camera to everybody online and whatnot, and then showcasing the highlights and the video reels and whatnot. And then all the developers themselves, or all the hardware companies, showing off their hardware at their own events for the press. Let's see here. Okay, reactions from the Division beta and how it's nothing like Destiny.
How did Destiny get in there again? Damn it!
I knew it was coming.
Kadex didn't even let Iceberg even do it. You just had to.
I had to be him to the punch there.
Strike, yeah.
And how it's absolutely nothing like Destiny.
Yeah, it's a video game that's just like Destiny.
Yeah,
you play with the controller.
Yeah.
You gotta play with the controller and you go boom, 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 boom.
You get guns.
And there's enemies.
Okay, I want to hear some similarities and then maybe some differences, because I've got a whole list of differences and only like 2 similarities. So we'll start off with Monsterous Rage on this one.
Similarities, you turn on the power and hey, look, you're playing a video game. No, it's not similar. It's not at all. Sure, you've got droves of enemies that say the same thing, and every once in a while it's, hey, save Alex, or did you hear about Mike? Did you hear about Mike? Did you hear about Mike? What about Alex? What about Alex? The AI do the same thing over and over again. The loot system in there is, well, I understand it's the beta, so I can't rip on it. I really can't. I haven't got the whole game in my hands yet, so it's just them, testing it to make sure that it can handle the load of people in there. But it's not making me want to buy the game, I'll say that. It's not making me want to buy the game, but it's nothing like Destiny. And the comparison, I don't get it. I don't get why there's even a comparison with the 2 games.
Just the fact that it's looter shooter tag to it, I guess. That's
But even that, okay, so we could say Diablo 3, same thing. If that's got to be like Destiny. It's a looter system going dungeon crawling, but to say that it's the same thing is ludicrous. I think there's no argument there.
All right, Iceberg, I see your intense look.
Okay. Well, I would say that there's certainly, the comparison, I think, is natural. They are both shooters as opposed to button mashers. We compare it to Diablo. And that's kind of where it ends. It's a looter shooter. We know that you get guns, you can get better equipment, but the shooting mechanics is a lot different. I would say you're going to compare it to anything, it'd be probably closer to a GTA from everything. And now I'm gonna put a little caveat here: is that I didn't actually play it. I actually just watched. I watched a lot of it, okay, but I never actually played it. But from everything that I've seen, and when I've asked questions about it, everybody's like, yeah, I could. It's kind of like GTA. I mean, as far as the combat mechanics and whatnot. But I've also heard from a lot of people they really like the shooting mechanics of it. The feel of the guns. And I understand why people like the game, okay, and why the people that I've seen play it seem to enjoy it. You have an interesting scenario with the darkness zone or dark zone or whatever it's called, where it is a PvP area. But it's different than what you'd get in like Destiny, where it's more of an Destiny's more of an organized PvP, whereas the vision is quite a bit different. There's more of a sense of danger in the Division. Like you go in, you get your loot, and it's like, will you make it out? Will you make it out with your loot? Which, I mean, like I said before, like, can you imagine going into Destiny and getting your year one Gallahorn, and then as you're leaving the raid, somebody comes by and kills you and takes it?
Oh God!
I mean, that'd be just ridiculous. But I mean, again, it's going to be targeting a different audience. Okay, you guys were talking about how it was kind of getting poor reviews. I know you guys are talking about, of course, the hacking side of it with the PC, but it's from all the console stuff that I watched, everybody seemed to really like it. There was very few people that didn't seem to like it. Me for one, I wasn't real big on it for the simple fact that I don't like that third person perspective. I enjoy GTA, but I don't really like the combat style in that game or the feel of that game. As far as combat is concerned, I love the story and whatnot, and I don't really like the toxic nature of what the PvP kind of brings out. Now, with that said, I did have a lot of laughs watching. I was watching, for example, Versus a stream, and it just cracked me up because he was like in a zone and they were fighting some PvE enemies. They're basically some ads or whatever, and he got knocked down, and so he had to get revived. So this other team that was there, he was just in there by himself. This other team come over and they heal him up, and like he's like, thanks. It's like, I can't wait to kill you all later. I'm gonna kill every single one of you. and then he was like walking around, like they kind of left, and there was one guy that was just kind of sitting there AFK. So he's like, oh, you're alone? Okay. And he starts shooting him, and then the other ones come and chase him, and they eventually box him in and they kill him. But I mean, it's just those little things like that. Just I think are really entertaining for me to watch. Just those interactions in that scenario. But again, for me, it's just not for me as a streamer. It's not for me as a gamer. So,
right.
And I guess that picks up on one point is the fact that with you saying it would be fun to watch. Maybe it's going to be interesting for those streamers that are like totally involved in this game, love it,
sure,
and play it along that lines. And people will watch it who don't want to play the game, who just want to see somebody be silly on cast. But is that going to make the general public go, I want to buy this game? I don't think so, because I mean I'm on the fence myself. Like I'm going to pick up the game because I have to get everything, but I don't know how long I'm going to play it for. So we'll see what happens in March when it comes out.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, you never really know. I mean, I honestly, when I first tried Destiny in the beta of Destiny, I didn't really. I actually purchased the game before, when we pre-ordered it, so I can get into the beta. And I really wasn't all that impressed with the beta itself, and then, I kind of ended up getting into it with my brother and whatnot. And so, like, who knows that if I would actually give this game a chance, that maybe it would really grow on me. But from what I've seen, it's just not something I'm really interested in getting into right now.
So, Hugg, how do you feel about what you've seen so far? Is it a game that you might feel like playing?
I mean, I didn't even play the beta. I watched maybe an hour and a half of Lono playing it, and then I was just kind of set on, okay, cool. That's just it's a new game, it's a new fad that people are going to get into, and the whole darkness zone. It sounds a whole lot like, I don't know if could be wrong about this, but it sounds like a whole lot of H1Z1 or something like that, DayZ, where you get loot and then somebody comes and kills you, you lose that loot, and you're like, what the fuck do I do now? You know,
I've heard that comparison too. I've heard that
that's
comparison.
kind of what I've thought about now. So I mean, I would get it. I would like to see what it's like because it's got that looter shooter tag, and I mean, Borderlands backgrounds for me. That's where I'm coming from. So that's how I kind of got into Destiny. The third person stuff. I mean, I guess I'm not into that all that much, but I don't know. I don't even know if I'm gonna pick it up. I might just watch people play it and see what they think.
Yeah, Big Bird actually. Yeah, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, I mean, I'm just gonna say that this is probably a big game that I feel like I can actually legitimately pass on. Like I can pass on it. Like there's been so many releases. It's like, oh man, everybody's getting it. I got to get it. This one, I'm like, okay, it's a game. Cool.
Well, there's a couple points that I kind of brought up, but Big Bird in chat kind of brought up something that made me think a little bit. Now, he talked about, they were kind of talking in chat about DayZ and, like that kind of combat. DayZ seems to me, and again, I haven't played it, I've watched a little bit of it. It seems more like a sandbox game, kind of similar to like EVE Online, where it's more of a sandbox situation, whereas like Destiny is a lot more structured. And this seems like it's going to be along those lines, a lot more structured. As far as the gameplay and what you do in it, whereas you still get that element, like I said, of danger, which always I was always attracted to in EVE Online. That's what I loved about playing on EVE Online is that there was those moments where you jump through a gate, and all of a sudden there's some enemies there, and you're like, fear is like, oh my god, I do not want to lose my ship. So it's that mad scramble to get out of there and being careful and thinking about everything you do. Whereas Destiny, you don't really think that much about what you're doing. You're just like, oh, let's go do the raid. How do you do the raid? You just do the mechanics and whatnot. And for me, again, not to bring Destiny too much into it, Destiny's really, for me, what really attracts me to it is just the combat mechanics of it. Just, it feels so good to shoot those guns. For me, the raids are fun. The PvP is fun because it's more along the lines of a Call of Duty style experience, which I enjoy. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I would probably enjoy The Division, but again, I'm not sure. As a streamer, I don't know anything about their development cycle, what their plans for the future are, and a part of me is just afraid to move on to a different game, whereas everybody else is going to be jumping on that game right away because they're looking for that next Destiny that's going to create the next King Ithalian, the next Professor Bro Man, Triple Rec, all these guys, so.
Well, their development cycle, they have announced 3 paid DLCs before holiday season this year. They're going to have 3, what it says in the article, 3 substantial pieces of DLC. They're going to be named DLC, so it's going to be almost like expansions to the game. Now, I did play the beta. I did have a few concerns about the beta. Now, obviously, there's going to be bugs in beta. It is a beta test, after all. Dark Zone was really laggy for me. There wasn't much to the PvE side. You got maybe an hour's worth, maybe hour and a half's worth of PvE content, and then all there's left is Dark Zone. Dark Zone was laggy, like I said. A lot of the enemies are bullet sponges. They take way too many rounds to put down.
Well, I think that was a PC issue too. There was people that were like super healthing themselves or infinite health.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
this was
health.
NPCs.
That's all just a balance issue too. That's something they could fix as well. They can look at that feedback. So
it might also have something to do with the fact that it's a beta. You're not going to get the exact in Destiny and Borderlands. There's guns that are really good, and you don't know, you haven't discovered it yet. But then you're not going to get it in Destiny in a beta.
Sure.
It's probably that's probably why they're bullet sponges. You're not going to get like the optimized loot. Right off the bat.
And Angry Iceberg made the comparison to GTA 5. I would make a mixture of comparisons between GTA 5 and Gears of War, because the Gears of War gunplay really seems to shine through in the Division. You have the blind shooting where you're able to shoot over cover without peeking your head over. The gunplay actually does feel organic. It does feel easy to grasp and easy to hang on to. The grenades, they do seem a bit flimsy at times, but that, like I said, I didn't have the greatest gear because it is beta. You can't get that much gear, and but overall it was fun. But it is definitely a game that you're gonna need a team to go into. You're gonna need a team of at least 2 other people to go into, maybe even for the PvE side. We don't know how difficult in-game PvE will be, but definitely for Dark Zone, you're gonna need a team of at least 2 people with you at all times in the Dark Zone, especially when this game launches, because there's going to be teams of 3 or 4 people running through there and collecting everybody else's loot that's stragglers.
Yep.
So
I'm just unpinning 2 grenades and running straight forward and saying to the rest of my team, just pick up whatever I blow up.
basically, just go rogue and have fun with it. But there was an invisibility glitch where, you know, you could turn invisible if you go into like a safe zone like 2 or 3 different times. You could pop out and you're invisible somehow. I don't know why that's a thing, but it is. That wasn't on PC, that was on console. And then your screen turns red for like 10-15 minutes for no reason. These are just regular bugs, though, that, of course, the beta is going to be able to fix and whatnot. PvE's going to be better. As you can see, you get a small map for the PvE area. But if you look at the actual map itself, it is very expansive. But you only get a little sliver for the beta. So a lot of people are saying the scope of the game's not going to be that great. You know, I could run across the Dark Zone in 10 minutes. You know, if I'm sprinting, I could run across the entire Dark Zone in 10 minutes. But the city itself surrounds the entire Dark Zone. It's not that little sliver that you get to play right now. So I have no problems with the scope of the PvE side. Maybe they need to, you know, in the expansions, expand the Dark Zone out, like the infection is spreading and they have to quarantine off certain more areas for the expansion. I could see that happening. But as far as a comparison to Destiny, there isn't any. You shoot a gun and there's gear and there's loot. That's it.
Sure.
That's the only comparison. A lot of people were making comparisons to Destiny and The Division long before the beta came out. Like, oh, it's going to be another Destiny. It's going to be a Destiny killer. Absolutely not. They went in a completely different direction.
Watch them completely. Well, sorry, watch them completely blow us away. And like what we saw with in all the like lead up to this was just this city, but like right after that first hour of gameplay, you go into outer space.
The Traveler shows up. Yeah, you're playing Destiny 2.
And then Marvel the Martian's your companion or something, just run around. Meow, meow, meow.
Well, you know, here's one of my concerns about it. Is just like, I mean, since it is New York City and the environment is, I mean, I don't know how varied the environment's going to be. And again, I know I sound fairly hypocritical when I as a Destiny, you know, streamer and as somebody that's, you know, very vocal about my enjoyment of Destiny, but it does seem like for me that I mean, yeah, it is New York City and you got the landmarks, but how varied is the actual, I mean, how, you know, will that environment kind of get old and stale after a while? And, you know, and again, kind of getting back to the development cycle, I really wasn't so much talking about this year, but like, how long is this going to be a franchise? It's going to, like Destiny, I know from what Bungie has told us in the past, and again, we still have yet to see if it's going to come to fruition, but they had a planned 10-year development cycle where, like, me as a streamer, I knew that this was something I could do for the next, you know, now 8 years. With somebody who's switching over to the Division, will they have to find another game to stream in 1 or 2 years if they are the type that just streams one game like I am? Like for somebody like MonsterousRage and yourself, Kadex, you know, I know you guys, you know, move around, you know, jump around different games fairly often, so it's not really an issue. But for me, who's developing my community based around a single game, which is Destiny, it is a scary thing to move on to a different game, especially as my community is beginning to gain traction. So that's really my biggest concern.
You definitely wouldn't want to leave it after it's starting to gain some momentum for sure.
Yeah.
So,
did you add anything else to add, Hugg?
No, I was just gonna say the whole this game's gonna be the insert name here killer. It's just that whole concept is just so stupid. Games don't die, dude. People are always going to play those games, and people are going to want to watch. So just because there's maybe 2,000 as compared to like 10,000 a year ago, there's still 2,000 people watching the game. So it's not dead to me. I don't. You can still build. I mean, you can still build a community off of any game as long as they come there for you or whatever. You know, the game is just a way for them to find you,
Right.
and then you can build it off of that. I always laugh. It's gonna kill this game. It's like, no, it's not. It's gonna kill it for you, but not for anybody else.
Yeah, we see MOBAs all the time, top 5, in Twitch, but you don't see, Mario Maker dying because of it. You don't see, you see Call of Duty at the top of Twitch all the time, but you don't see, Titanfall dying. There's still people streaming Titanfall every day because Titanfall is a beloved game. We're ready for Titanfall 2. I think everybody here, their body is ready for Titanfall 2. Even Angry Iceberg, who is curmudgeonly the Destiny grandpa.
Oh no, I'll play the shit out of Titanfall 2.
There you go. And Half-Life 3 that you're never getting.
Hey, I'm never going to give up hope. I don't care what you guys say.
I'm going to make a 300-page flip book, and it's going to be Half-Life 3, and I'll mail it to you, buddy.
There you go.
Yeah, I already told you. I will find a way to make enough money so I can buy freaking Valve and make that game.
And I'll ship you crayons for DLC. How about that?
Cool. Well, whatever gets the job done.
All right, our next topic here is simply creativity in video games and how, the more creative a game seems to be, the more attractive it is to players, because as a community, we love to create. We create content. Every one of us here is a content creator, and we also love to create things in game, or at least make it our own. If we can't create things, we customize them. So how do you feel like we can move forward in customization and creativity in games, kind of like a Minecraft has, and kind of like the different shaders in Destiny. There you go, Iceberg. The different skins in Borderlands. There you go, Hugg. And the different Mario Maker maps. There you go, MonsterousRage. So how do you guys feel like creativity drives innovation and whatnot, and what do you want to see? We'll start with You Need A Hugg.
Well, creativity is the whole reason why we're here. Like, if it wasn't for Activision or Bungie or anything, they wouldn't be creative. No, or Twitch, it wouldn't be here. So creativity is always, it's the number one thing that drives anything. You can take a game that's 5 years old and just say, I want to make this kind of challenge. I want to do this. I want to be able to get here without having to use this or that. It's just not like creating, I don't know, making a game. It's just taking a game and taking what you think it, or what you know about the mechanics, and then just trying to challenge yourself. And as far as, dude, I don't know. I'm not a big talking head, so I'm just like,
Hey, what are you saying?
Ooh, shots fired. Shots
no,
fired.
that's not what I mean. It's not what I mean. I'm just not like, I don't know. I just kind of say what I can think of, but I mean, it's not like you're not gonna get a huge, amazing idea from me. It's just gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Creativity is a thing. I mean, that's kind of.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay,
You're doing fine, man. You're doing fine.
You're good, man. MonsterousRage, what do you think about creativity, man?
I think creativity works with customization. We all want to be that person in the game, so the more that they can give that ability to us is something that's going to drive sales up. I'll give you an example. We're playing WWE wrestling right now. I know, I'm playing wrestling, guys. But you're able to create your character. I could make one wrestler that looks exactly like me and go through the whole wrestling tournament, win champion after championship, and playing as myself. Or if I want to, let my chat take over and we end up with a psycho clown. But the customization is what drives people. It every time you play a new game, for myself anyway, when I play a game, if I'm able to create a character to make it look a certain way or give it attributes that will make it act a certain way, I'm really driven into that game already. And it's because I can create something that's personal, something that's unique to myself. And I think that's what people are craving. I think that's what people enjoy when they get games, when they get to pick them up. Multiplayer games are no different. I could have this same pistol that every other person has on the map, or I could have this shiny gold-plated pistol that shoots out grenades, and when they blow up, they shoot out little mini grenades, and when they blow out, they come and hug you with kisses, and then rainbows go all across the sky. Like, that gun sounds really cool.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm done.
Iceberg.
I don't know. I mean, I think just creativity, as we know, drives the industry, and that's how the industry evolves, is from new ideas. And I mean, you just look at Minecraft, and you look at what Rogue did. When they got all these roguelikes coming out, and these procedurally generated worlds, just what that style of thinking really generated, for the games industry. So, I mean, obviously, anytime you're going to see, the industry evolve is from some new idea that people look at in different ways and take in different directions. So, I mean, you have to have creativity in the industry. I mean, it's just a given. I mean, there's no way around it. Otherwise, it's going to get stale. It's going to die out. But I don't think there's definitely no lack of creativity in the industry. And that's one of the great things about the indie movement is, you get to see a lot of that, a lot of those new ideas used in sometimes simple ways, but sometimes in, interesting ways. So, I don't know. I think it's good.
Yeah, I really think that creativity drives innovation. Without creativity, we will not be sitting here on the loading screen. We will not be on Twitch. We will not be playing video games. In fact, we'd probably be sitting down reading a book, enjoying a glass of wine, and smoking a cigar. Actually, scratch the book because, writers have creativity as well. But I digress. Yeah, video games, you have to have creativity. Now, customization in video games, that's a way for you to become more immersed into the video game. That makes it yours. In Destiny, when I apply a shader to my Titan, guess what? That's my Titan. I make them stand out with whatever shader I choose. In Borderlands, if I decide to make my Zero pink, Hugg, and have the Pink Knight, that's your character. The Pink Knight is infamous on Hugg's channel. And then you have MonsterousRage Rage that can make a demonic-looking thing, wrestle around in a ring for a few hours. Come on. I mean, it's a way to customize yourself and say, hey, here's my creativity, here's my stamp on this character. This is how I want to see my game, and this is how I want to play it. And I think that helps out with Twitch as well, because you don't want cookie-cutter games being played on Twitch where it's the exact same character that looks the exact same way all the time, and it's just, okay, go here, shoot this, go here, jump over that, go here, kill that thing. It's going to get really boring really quickly, unless you do have some customization. You can kind of spice it up, make it your own, or like MonsterousRage Rage did, and have your chat kind of dictate, okay, well, this guy's going to look like this, and he's going to have huge feet and big hands, and he's going to have horns coming out of his head, but he's going to be 4 foot tall. It's just something fun.
Don't forget about Stinkface.
Yeah, Stinkface too. And it's just an extra layer of immersion where you can have, hey, I can do whatever I want with the game. I can play it how I want to. And that's how you get the most bang for your buck. You can have the most fun with your games this way. All right. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I think we've covered it. Covered it.
Okay, we will move on to our last topic of the evening, and that is timed exclusives. Very basic question. Are they good for corporations and bad for the gamers, or are they good for the gamers and bad for corporations? We'll go ahead and start with Angry Iceberg.
Timed exclusives, I don't know, man. Obviously they're good for the corporations because, well, they're at least good for the people that are selling the rights to those, or otherwise it wouldn't make financial sense. Because people are still going to purchase Call of Duty on the Xbox and the PS4. You know, there even if it takes a little bit longer. Like Destiny's a huge. I know, of course, we come back full circle, but Destiny's a huge example of that. Is that PS4 or the PlayStation side has timed exclusives that last a year, whereas like Call of Duty, exclusives were what, a few months, 1 or 2, 3 months.
I think it's only 30 days now.
Yeah, 30 days, whatever it was. It wasn't very long. We're talking like a huge difference here, right? But in the case of Destiny, it's like one of those things. Like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Like when I started playing on the PS4 for the first time. For Destiny, I was just like, really, this is all we're missing. It's really nothing. I'm actually kind of glad. Like there's a certain certain strike on the PS4 that the Xbox doesn't currently have, and I'm like glad it's not on the Xbox. I don't have to worry about that one coming up in the rotation because it sucks.
There are
it's
some
a pain in the
just
ass.
like you can keep that shit because
yeah, exactly. And so in the end, it's really just about trying to. Either Microsoft or Sony trying to sell consoles and attract people, which is obviously good for them. The publishers, if they can end up selling it on both consoles, they're still going to make that money. I thought it was really great for Tomb Raider because Microsoft dished out all this money to them to bring it to Xbox first. When when nobody on the Sony side really cared, because guess what, they got Uncharted, So, but then again, the Tomb Raider's still going to sell on the PS4, just it was never going to sell that much to begin with, and it didn't sell that much to begin with on the Xbox either. So they got their money either way. So I think it's good. It's good. I think it's good for the consumer. It's not good for the consumers, but it's good for the corporations. I mean, I think it kind of limits the consumers a little bit, but again, sometimes it really doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Hugg?
I mean, exclusives are how people are going to choose what console they want to play on, and I don't know. I prefer for games just to be on whatever. I mean, you're not going to have different consoles if you don't have exclusives, but. For me, myself, I was just like, I don't know. I would love for them to be all on just one thing and just nobody would be arguing. Just be like, well, it's just be about the game and not the console, but that's not going to happen. I don't know. I think it's probably it's definitely good for corporations because this, if they have one, Microsoft has this awesome exclusive and then Sony has this one. I mean, it's just going to dictate what people are going to buy. Obviously, I'm always going to be, no matter what PS4 exclusives are going to be on there, I'm going to be an Xbox dude and a PC guy. I mean, I was just kind of Xbox. For me, I'm just loyal to Xbox because that's like the first console that I ever had. So, I mean, it's definitely good for corporations. Probably, I don't know. It sucks as a gamer because you're gonna have. Well, it's way better. Even if they're not exclusive, and it's just Destiny and Xbox. Well, this is way better than the Xbox version. It's just like some of that talk. I hate it. So,
yeah. MonsterousRage, how you feel, man?
Timed exclusives. I think I'm gonna disagree with both you guys. That's what I'm gonna do.
Cool.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and do my own thing. Corporations, I don't think it's a good thing for corporations or the gamer. The reason why I don't think it's good for corporations, so you release it on the PlayStation 4. Let's just say a game gets released on PlayStation 4 a month early. The game sucks. All those sales for Xbox are now gone because people aren't buying that game a month later. Yeah. So that is a reason why I think it's totally ludicrous that you shouldn't be doing this with these games. You shouldn't have them exclusively timed because it's hurting the developer, it's hurting the corporation if the game doesn't do well on whatever system it gets released on first. On the flip side of that, sure, it's going to drive up sales of that individual console if people really want to play that game, but going back to the original point, if it's a terrible game, they've had a month to see that, and then the other side is just not going to purchase it. And they're going to lose a lot of money versus them releasing it on both systems at the same time. And everybody gets to find out it's a piece of crap, but they've already made their money.
Yeah. With time exclusives, I am going to use the Tomb Raider as an example because it's a prime example of my point. You had Tomb Raider, a game that's going to be exclusive for Xbox that is still exclusive to Xbox. If you know video games and if you're in the video game culture, most likely you have seen it on Twitch. And if you want to see Tomb Raider, guess what? It's an action-adventure game. There's not much to see after you've already seen the game, so what's really the purpose of purchasing the game once you've seen somebody complete it? Second point is Tomb Raider. Guess what else came out the same day Tomb Raider did? Fallout 4. Look what happened to Tomb Raider. They got absolutely stumped. I was at a midnight release for both Tomb Raider and Fallout 4. There was 300 people in line for Fallout 4, 2 people for Tomb Raider. I mean, that just shows that you can't release a game the same day. That's an Xbox exclusive as Fallout 4 that's multi-console and has a whole hype train behind it. But yes, PlayStation will eventually get Tomb Raider. It'll probably get some free things to go along with it. But what's the point of buying it when we've already seen the entire game on Twitch or YouTube or whatnot? Because you've already had the experience of the entire game. You're just pressing the buttons now. You already know what's going to happen. You already know how the game ends. I don't think it's a great move for the developer. I think the day that they released it was absolutely horrible. And the fact that it's only on Xbox just excludes sales. Because they couldn't drive up sales due to Fallout 4. If people are going to have $60, $70 to spend on a game, they're not out there buying Tomb Raider. They're out there buying Fallout 4. And we saw that. I saw that in person at E3. Or at, not E3, but at GameStop when I bought Fallout 4. Anything else, guys?
I just think exclusives are stupid.
I think exclusives are stupid.
Yeah, I think exclusives, they seriously do need to go away. But as long as corporations make money off of paying developers for their exclusive rights to content, we'll see it.
That's exactly why it's not going to change. It's a shame, though, but...
It is a shame, but unless us as gamers kind of stand up on Reddit and social media and say, okay, this isn't okay, or boycott it or somewhat, which we probably won't do because we still want to play the content, then we won't see a massive change in the market.
You're not going to see gamers boycotting games, no matter what. Exclusives
boycott the gas companies. That's not going to happen either.
Yeah. We're boycotting gas until it goes down to $1.50 or whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm talking about over here, it's $1.50.
Mr. Vulture's in chat asks if we're going to mention Halo being exclusive to Xbox, but that's produced by Microsoft. That's expected to be.
That's a difference.
Exclusive.
That's a difference. That's a first party exclusive. That's different than a third party timed deal.
That's like Sony having God of War. I mean, Kratos is the face of Sony, so you can't exactly have that comparison. It's a company made game, so of course that's going to be exclusive. But I do think that's going to be the end of the stream tonight. So I want to go ahead and give you guys some time to mention where you are, when you're there, and what you're doing there. Let's start with Monsterous Rage.
Alright guys, I am Monsterous Rage, part of MonsterousRage Gaming, and I am a variety broadcaster. I stream 6 days a week, 8 hours a day, every once in a while 10 hours. But I play everything along all consoles, some stuff on PC. You can find me, I believe it's just popped up in Twitch, but Twitch TV/MonsterousRage, and you can also find me on Twitter and YouTube. You want the links? Go to my page, it's all there.
Alright, Angry Iceberg?
Alright, I am Angry Iceberg. I am a daily Destiny streamer. You can expect me online every single day, no later than 6 p.m. Eastern, unless something, comes up, because, let's face it, things come up. That's mostly during the week. During the weekends, I try to get on about 2 o'clock Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern every single day. I do most of my stuff with my viewers, so it is a very interactive experience. Like today, I ran 2 raids that was filled with all viewers. So come on and hang out, play some Destiny with me. I also started doing on Mondays, every Monday now, rotating between the Xbox and the PS4. I am inviting other growing streamers to stream with me, and we sit and we talk about Destiny. We talk about streaming. We talk mostly about streaming, but we talk about life, and it's a way to get to know other streamers that maybe you hadn't heard of before or hadn't checked out before. And you get to learn a little bit about streaming and a little bit about Destiny, and it's especially good for for growing streamers or people that are just starting out in streaming or thinking about getting on streaming, because we talk about a lot of the different subjects that you will face with streaming. So that's, of course, Monday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. That gets going. It's called Monday Night Rare. So you can check that out there. Also, I'll be uploading those episodes to YouTube, which means I have a YouTube now, where you can watch the first 2 episodes right now up on YouTube. You can get that information in my information panel as far as a link to my YouTube page. Also, please follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/angry_iceberg, which is the same as my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/angry_iceberg. We also have the Facebook page, facebook.com/theangry_iceberg. Hope to see you in the stream. Stop on by. Let's take a shot. Saturday, shoot 'em up Saturdays, guys. It's coming.
Whoa. And Mr. You Need A Hugg, our special guest of the evening.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, Kadex. Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, you'll see me streaming from about 5 p.m. Central Standard Time to about 10 or 11, maybe. Sometimes Saturday mornings. I know this Saturday morning for the Borderlands community, since we just did the One Life Challenge for charity, I raised over $1,000. So I said, once I do that, shaving all his hair off, it's going to go bald. So that's going to be pretty cool. Saturday morning, we'll be doing that. Yeah.
This is what you have to look forward to here.
Yeah. Twitch.tv, You Need A Hugg. Twitter is also, it's a pain in the ass to type U_need_A_hug, because I'm terrible. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right.
All Borderlands stuff, mostly. Jesus. Words.
Good job, man. $1,000.
Yeah, You Need A Hugg is special guest for a reason. He's on a stream team New Hope with Fistmaster 5000 and one got it from MonsterousRage Rage channel that I'm mod for. They're a great stream team. If you guys want to bookmark that stream team, support all the guys in there. You Need A Hugg is an aficionado at One Life and Borderlands in general. So if you guys have any questions for Borderlands or whatnot, or questions for Hub, you can always stop by there, and he's always glad to answer chat. I've always been there, and he always answers my questions. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you once again, MonsterousRage, Angry Iceberg, and You Need A Hugg. My name is KadexGaming, Twitch stream dedicated helping you in game and in life. I go live 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We go until about 8 p.m. Eastern Time, with the exception of the podcast, which is 10:30 to about 11:30-ish, give or take. And yeah, I am doing a charity stream this month. Twitch helps Twitch. I do that every other month where I gather donations, and I take all those donations, I donate it to a smaller stream to get them the hardware and possibly the games to help them succeed on Twitch. So if you guys can, please stop on by 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And for MonsterousRage, Angry Iceberg, and You Need A Hugg, I'm KadexGaming, always here to urge you. Keep calm and game on. Do a little dance. Do a little dance, do a little dance, hey, 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 hey. Don't make the stink face. Don't make the stink face. And